#Firelight Adventures. The secret river of gold. The fire crackled low in the small iron stove of the old canvas tent. Outside, the Sierra Nevada wind moaned through the pine trees. But inside, two brothers lay wrapped in wool blankets, eyes wide open, ready for a new adventure. The firelight seemed to whisper. Alex, 11 years old and already as serious as any grown miner, pulled his blanket tighter. Chris, 9, bouncy even when lying down, grinned at the ceiling. Gold rush? Chris asked excitedly. The tent walls shimmered. The smell of wood smoke turned to pine sap and cold river water. The stove became a campfire under a million stars. When the light settled, Alex and Chris stood on a rocky bank of the American River in California. The year 1849. They wore red flannel shirts, suspenders, and heavy boots that felt strange and wonderful on their feet. A leather poke hung at Alex's belt for carrying gold. Chris had a flat pan for washing gravel. A battered felt hat sat on each of their heads. Alex looked around carefully. Hundreds of white tents dotted the hills. Men with beards shouted and laughed. Mules brayed. Someone far away was playing a fiddle. California Gold Rush, Alex said quietly, as though saying it too loud might make it vanish. We have to be smart. There's dangerous men here, claim jumpers, and the river's fast. Chris spun his pan like a pizza. And gold. Nuggets as big as walnuts just lying around. Alex gave his little brother the look. The one that said, I love you but please listen. Most people find nothing but blisters. We stick together. We watch each other's backs. Promise? Chris's face turned serious for half a second. Promise? They walked upstream, away from the crowds. Alex studied the river bends the way. He studied everything. Slowly, carefully. Chris skipped stones and greeted every miner they passed with a cheerful howdy. By noon they had made a friend. An old Chinese miner named Mr. Chen, who spoke careful English and smiled with gold-capped teeth. Secret place, Mr. Chen whispered, tapping the side of his nose. Up Feather River. Few men go. Too many rocks. Too wild. But gold sleeps there like dragon. Alex's eyes got huge. Alex frowned. Why tell us? Mr. Chen shrugged. You have honest faces. And the little one makes people laugh. World needs more laugh. He drew them a map on a scrap of rice paper, then waved them off with a gift of 2 dried persimmons. That night the brothers camped alone under pines. Chris wanted to leave right away. Alex made them wait until morning. Rushing gets people killed, he said, sharpening his stick for no reason except to calm him. Chris sighed but trusted his big brother. At dawn they followed the map. The trail climbed higher than any hike they'd ever done. Chris scrambled ahead like a mountain goat. Alex followed more slowly, checking for loose rocks, testing every log bridge with his weight first. Halfway up, they heard crying. Behind a boulder sat a boy no older than Chris, face dirty with tears. His ankle was swollen twice its normal size. Name's Tommy, he sniffed. Came with my pa, but he went to town for supplies 3 days ago and never came back. I tried to pan alone and slipped. Chris dropped to his knees. We'll help. Alex's mind raced. They had no horse, no wagon, and still miles from the secret spot. But they couldn't leave Tommy. Between them they made a carry seat with their arms. Tommy was light, but the trail was steep. Chris's legs shook. Sweat poured down Alex's face. When Chris stumbled, Alex caught him without a word. When Alex's arms burned like fire, Chris started telling jokes to keep him going. What's a miner's favorite kind of music? Chris panted. I don't know. Alex grunted. Rock and gold. Even Tommy laughed. Hours later they reached a flat meadow. They built a small fire, splinted Tommy's ankle with pine branches and strips from Alex's spare shirt, and fed him the last persimmon. Tommy looked at them with shining eyes. You didn't even know me. Chris shrugged. That's what you do. Alex just nodded once, the way he did when words felt too small. The next morning Tommy could hobble with a stick. The three of them, now a team, continued toward the secret river. The Feather River roared below a cliff like an angry dragon. Mr. Chun had not lied. The water was white and furious, rocks sharp as knives. But where the river made a sudden horseshoe bend, the water slowed into a dark, quiet pool. Chris gasped. The riverbed glittered. Not just flecks. Nuggets the size of acorns lay scattered like someone had spilled treasure. Chris started to leap in. Alex grabbed his collar. "Current's tricky," he warned. "We go slow." They tied themselves together with the rope Alex always carried, just in case. Inch by inch they waited. The water was so cold it burned. Chris's teeth chattered, but he grinned the whole time. They filled their pan again and again. Gold so heavy the pan almost sank. But then came the trouble Alex had feared. 3 rough-looking men appeared on the bank. Big beards, pistols on their belts, eyes mean as winter. "That's our claim, boys." The tallest one growled. "Drop the pan and walk away." Chris stepped forward, chin high. "We found it fair. Mr. Chin told us." The middleman laughed. "Old Chin don't own this river. We do." Alex's heart pounded, but his voice stayed steady. "There's plenty here. We can share." The men didn't want to share. The leader drew his pistol. Time slowed. Alex looked at the deep pool, at the rope still tying them to Tommy on shore, at Chris's scared but stubborn face. Then Alex did the bravest thing he had ever done. He reached into the pan, pulled out the single biggest nugget, almost as large as an egg, and held it high. "This one's yours," he said. The men's eyes locked on the gold, greedy and shining. While they stared, Alex nodded once at Chris. Chris understood instantly. Together they flung the entire pan of gold. Not just the one nugget. High into the air over the deep pool, gold rained down like yellow stars. The men screamed and lunged for the water, pistols forgotten. Alex yanked the rope. He, Chris, and Tommy scrambled up the bank and ran. Behind them, the claim jumpers splashed and cursed, too busy grabbing nuggets to chase. The brothers didn't stop until the river was far behind, and their legs gave out. They collapsed laughing and gasping in a bed of pine needles. "We lost it all," Chris cried, half weeping, half giggling. Alex pulled something from his pocket. One single, perfect nugget he had palmed at the last second. "It's enough," he said. Tommy stared at them like they were heroes out of stories. That night, back by their little campfire, Tommy's ankle wrapped, bellies full of roasted squirrel Chris had caught. The stars came out brighter than ever. Chris leaned against Alex. "You think Ma and Pa will believe we met real 49ers? Alex smiled, something he didn't do often. "They'll believe we came home safe. That's what matters." Tommy fell asleep first. Chris's eyes drooped. Alex banked the fire low and whispered the words they always said at the end of every Firelight Adventure. "Wherever we go together." The fire settled into gentle embers. The pine trees faded. The river's roar became the soft creak of the tent in the wind. Alex and Chris lay once again in their sleeping bags, the glow of the little stove painting warm patterns on the canvas. Chris's voice was sleepy but happy. "Best adventure yet." Alex reached over and squeezed his brother's hand.